Hi, we're the Christensens.
I'm Jay.
Carissa. Timothy's on the camera. Recently, we posted a video of someone that we don't know very well.
Don't know who she is, really.
Yeah. Anyway, she knows who we are.
I used to work 8 hours, come back, I don't know very people.
Yeah. But anyway, they came up, go back where you belong. Well, where do we belong?
I don't know, where do we belong? Best ask her.
Yeah, somewhere between here and there. We've been married, 21 years. We've lived in a lot of states. We've lived in Missouri, a couple places in Missouri. We've lived in Tennessee. We've lived in South Carolina, Minnesota, now Nebraska. I mean, we've gotten around. So, I don't know, which place do we want to go back to? I mean, there's something different about every place we've been. So, anyway, where do we belong? I don't know, thought we belonged in Crofton. We enjoyed the people, and up until all of this, we didn't really have any enemies.
And the main reason we're doing this video is, at the council meetings, we don't get a chance to talk. And my wife, I'm working 8 hours a day. I have no time to go in there and ask for time to speak at a council meeting. My wife went in there twice, and I got denied. So we have to make this video to show what we want to talk about. That's the reason why we're doing it. So we're going to start talking about a few subject points. That's how our opinion is. If you nitpick it, you nitpick it. That's where we stand.
Yeah. If you want to go through it and nitpick every point, you sure can. Because we may not have everything right, but I guess I look at it this way. This is just an opinionated video, and if you don't like the opinion, you can turn it off. The different questions have come up. One thing I do not like, people putting words in my mouth of why I'm doing something. It came out in the paper saying that why we were doing the recall on James Murphy is because he was questioning John Carter about the grants. Okay, that's not one of my main issues, though talking to some other people, it might be their main issue against James. It basically just had 3 points. I was upset that he didn't stand up against the audit, that the roads are in disrepair.
And he had a chance to fix for $170,000. What meeting was it?
Back in, I think it
was May.
May and August. And there was a couple of meetings back in 2022.
Yeah. And when right around Cheryl, he has strong. He wants concrete. He wants concrete. But now look, our roads. Our roads are a mess. He was so headstrong on concrete, and I don't think he ever put a bid on concrete. If I'm wrong, tell me. But I don't think I put concrete next meeting after for a bid on concrete.
Or looked into it.
Yeah.
We could probably do that, but you have to budget for it and say, okay, this is how you're going to, here's the plan, here's the roads you're going to repair.
We have a small amount of money to work with. We're not a big city.
But anyway, so those, and then the grant thing, he was pretty disrespectful back in February, I think it was, when Aubrey was talking about what Bob Evans had spoke to him, and then James jumped in and started talking to John Carter about the grant money, which John Carter proved there was grant money out there. So anyway, and I hope that Bob will figure this out. He said in one of his comments to the news crew that he is going to try to work on these grants. All you got to do is just fill out the information, fill in the blanks, get it sent in, correct any errors that are in there. Because Cheryl was in office when it was filled out, and some of the things were filled out just from public information, which is probably not right. So you just fill it out, get it done. We have the money for that.
And another thing is. The audit. James Murphy did not even say not a word about he liked it or disliked it. He could have changed it. He could have. If say I didn't like the audit, but only two he didn't do. he didn't go to those audits and voice it. Sometimes when you say nothing, you're standing for something. And now you look at it, he's on the Bob and Larry side now against the cops now it is.
Yeah, and he said in the, he confronted us after, that's what the other video was. My son actually videotaped it, but anyway. But basically he said that John Carter is the fault of the audits. And, first of all, John Carter has no voting powers. He didn't hold their hands, yank on them, saying, you gotta go this way, and he didn't, stick it to them and say, you have to do this and have to do that, and you gotta go that direction. And, you can give suggestions, but it doesn't necessarily mean, you have no voting, he has no voting powers. So it wasn't him, it was, Larry Pides, Bob Evans, and the other councilmen, they pushed, this on us.
And my thing, it sounds crude. If someone told you go jump in the manure pit, would you? If you go in there, you can't blame the other person. You're one that went in there. You listen to them.
Yeah, you're supposed to be our elected officials and be doing the will of the people. It wasn't the will of the people to go after our former mayor. She was about to finish up, and and it wasn't even. It was agreed wanting to get a CPA. A CPA didn't do that audit report, so therefore we had to do another audit report. So our poor office people had to go through 2 audits. And then basically another reason for the.
Just wait.
Okay.
And the paper, when Bob and Larry said after the former mayor, is almost like a witch hunt. And they made a witch hunt on her, say, you're guilty, and I'm going to find something wrong with you. I thought in the United States you're innocent, then proven guilty. That's how our mayor's right now. They'll find things wrong with you. They act like you're guilty, and they'll find things wrong with you, and after the fact. So they're doing the same thing right now to John Carter as they're doing to Cheryl. They never said nothing about what John did. They'll try to find something wrong with John afterwards and see this is what it is.
And the state law specifically, they need to follow this law, and they didn't follow the law. The law says you have to put in writing the allegations you have against the officer and what you have against them, and then they have a right to appeal that. It doesn't say you just fire them first, then tell them what they did, and then they can have an appeal. Didn't even have it corrected. Miller didn't even get his own dismissal letter. So that's kind of silly too. You closed the whole police force and then said, oh, yeah, you can defend yourself later,
And my thing is they have livelihoods. They moved here. What you're doing is killing and destroying their lives right now. They are. And I ask whoever listened to it, does that make sense? How would you feel in their situation right now? That you didn't do nothing wrong. You can justify it all you want. Let's look at the truth of the whole situation right now. What did they really do? Are they falsely accusing something? And that's good. Is a friendship to a person, or he's the insurance guy, or you're friends with him, or your brother, or sister, or a family member. The fact is, they're destroying someone's familyhood. That's killing their life. That's destroying life. That's stealing money from them. You have to differentiate the truth from what's there. If you stand up for someone for a personality, not the truth, something's wrong with this picture.
Okay, and I'd also like to address the fact that people say there's no bullying in Crofton. Well, I'd like to say otherwise. When we are going around with a petition, and first of all, the petition is our God-given, it's our given right, maybe not God-given, it's state-given, but it's our given right as citizens. If we don't like something, we have every right to file a recall. It's in our state government that says that we can do this with an elected official. If you don't like it, then you don't sign the petition, fine. But we got enough signatures. 67 people agreed with us, and there was a few more, but some of the signatures, they had a little problem with the registration or whatever. But as far as the bullying, okay, so we're going around town talking to different people. There goes Bob. Hey, Bob. And there goes Bob again. Hey, Bob, you know.
And then Larry rolls around, keeping an eye on us.
Yeah. And a couple of times, his daughter Crystal has followed us around.
Yep, in the furthest corner of the grain bins, and no reason. It's back there. We purposely went back there, see if they would follow us, and go and get the signatures, and they went back there.
Yeah, and we had John Carter back there with us, and he just followed her out because there's, you know.
And she didn't know. He didn't know. It was Crystal. That's bullying right there.
Walking by our house is one thing. It's a public street, so I guess we can't prove that that's necessarily anything. But going up and down several times.
Come here and texting right in front of our window when we got pictures of it.
Standing there and texting, and that we're out and about, talking to our kids, yelled at our kids.
Yell at our kids, be quiet, and my boy was just playing.
Yeah, and
what street was that?
4th Street. So 4th Street up on the beginning of town there. Tim and I were out on that one. 16-year-old. He's just out there with me, and the guy just yelled at me and I'm gonna at you because I don't like everything you're doing, and I've told everybody on the street not to vote.
No, first they didn't say I want to meet you.
Oh yeah, he said he wanted to meet me because I guess the paper thing has gotten to him. Was there anything else, Tim?
And he told the whole neighborhood, don't sign nothing.
He said, I told the neighbors all that they're not going to sign that petition, and okay.
And if this is a viewpoint of some of these bullies have, should we have a sign coming into Crofton and say, this is the rules and regulation, you don't cross this point, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, this, and this. Should we have that and sign a signature on it? Like Bob told Aubrey, you're not a good fit. So where's our application where we have we're not a good fit? Someone told us we're not a good fit because we go back where it belonged.
Yeah, opening days of one of the businesses, we won't say which one, but one of the businesses anyway, they got immediately everybody says, I'm the councilman, don't cross me kind of thing, I'm paraphrasing that,
what kind of person is, they work for us. The mayor is supposed to be a servant and umpire of the rules, not a dictatorship for
They're
us.
supposed to guide the meetings, not dictate the meetings.
Not pull his weight and say, I want this. And in Crofton, there's a small group of family dictating what we believe. I don't understand how it works. Can Crofton have a thought of their own how they believe instead of pushing stuff and make their own decisions? Can they?
Yeah, because basically when we talk to people, the issues that they were most upset about was the officer issue. They didn't like that our officers were being told they weren't a good fit. I didn't talk to one person. Even the most upset people were not really upset too much, except they didn't like the officer issue. So, they might like James, but they just didn't like that they're for firing the officers. The biggest issue was the officers. They want our officers in town. It took us a year to get these ones. And I don't know if you noticed in the paper, but there's an ad from Lincoln that pays quite a bit more than Crofton for officers to come, and a lot more benefits than what we can pay them. So, if Lincoln can't even find anybody, we waited a year for this, and then, our officers before, the one guy went over to Bloomfield, they've got 4 officers. Some people say you only need 1, but you really need 2 because otherwise you get burnt out.
Even in OSHA and working, some jobs need 2 people. You need 2 people. You need 2 people to protect us. Each one protect each other. There's 2 people that want to hold a ladder sometimes in OSHA. There's no difference.
But yeah, I just basically don't think we need to tell each other. And even in our opinions, I'm not going to tell you how to think. If you know, somebody could tell me I'm wrong, but every house we went to, we tried to be very respectful. If someone didn't want to hear what we had to say, we just said thank you and have a nice day. Yeah, walked on. Have a nice day. It's okay to have a different opinion. You know, so any arguing was not done on our side.
I mean, if they're bullying you, are they worried about something? If people will come here and say, you don't vote for this, so don't sign it. Even you read in the paper, in that article, it says, do not sign the signatures. It just plainly said, do not sign it. That's a dictator. That's being bullied right here. You should have said, hey, it's your choice not to you don't have to sign it. You don't have to sign it, not, but that's my side. But it says, don't sign the signature. It's like an order to people. So see, I'm the head honcho right here. I'm the big bully. Don't do that.
Yeah, so basically, like as far as the things that I had brought up against James and Murphy, the police officers was the big issue about the people here in Crofton. Roads were another big issue. And then the audit money that we ended up having to spend on 2 audits. So my big thing is that James just didn't stand up to that. And he may have persuaded one way or the other, but at least had his opinion out there that I don't like the idea of this.
And another thing on the recall, we have the tax coming on the recall. My question is this. Is James Murphy for the tax rate going up? Is he or isn't he? Is the 5 councilmen, which one's for, which one's against? I'd like to know that.
But yeah, it seems like we're kind of in the midst of all this chaos and craziness. They're trying to just slide in this tax thing. We just need time to discuss it and think about it. Do we really want to raise our taxes right now? Is there any other way? Is there not any grants that we could look at to help us with the pool? We've got half the money, obviously, that's coming in to get a new pool. Has anybody, I don't know, I'm not sure. Has anybody looked into grants and funding and see if there's some things that can help a small town be able to get a pool? You know, some other ways besides just raise taxes, and that's the only way we can pay for the pool. I don't know. I mean, and is just a straight sales tax the way to pay for the pool, or should it be a separate issue? Should we, look into some other kind of? I think someone has suggested at one of the meetings a bond issue, and we can discuss it and decide if we want to raise the taxes that way. I don't know what the best option is, but we need time to think about it, not throw it in our faces and then, because there's already a, petition coming out, or, throw this on there too, throw this on the ballot.
And another thing got me is paper is showing how good the mayor is, right? I believe the mayor's a good magician. Look over here while I'm doing something over here. In the paper, they mowed someone's yard, and they said how great Bob's doing them there. Yeah, he only did the front of the yard, didn't even weed it around, and the back part, that's where the guy has probably his daycare back there. That's where the animals are. And they didn't mow that. That's probably the worst problem. But this is like the whole city like this. And see how good I am? I mowed this lawn. And now, see the past, you don't do it. Let's go find the root problem here. The root problem is Bob and Larry and James want to get rid of the cop in the first place. And now we're blaming him, how it ever hits the news all the time. But let's say that the root system right there is like a dandelion. You cut the dandelion on the top right there, and then you blame blaming the dandelion, but you ain't going to the root, see what the root problem is. You get the root problem finished first, the other stuff will go away. The dandelion will go away. But we all blame the root, the dandelion sitting up there.
See, it says here in the article, in the newspaper, and just that we need to get back to our community the way that it was. The getting back to the community the way we once were. Well, it seems to me, we've only been here 3 years, but it seems to me if you don't have a certain name, you haven't been here a certain amount of time, you have no say in Crofton. Like, I feel like Crofton is just the dictators are used to just dictating and say, listen to me. Well, there's an awful lot of people out there that we talk to, whether they sign the petition or not, that are concerned that we're not going in the right direction. We're going a direction that just a few people want us to go. And the majority is just either not speaking up, they don't know what they can do about it. They just kind of feel like, well,
And some people are just tired from the last couple fights. I mean, I'm talking to people at Crofton right now who got tired. We have to fight it. We have to fight this. When we win this battle, we have to keep the battle and keep fighting for it. We just cannot have relaxed.
I mean, there needs to be some good people.
Can the older generation help the younger generation come up and say, no, we're not doing this, and change it? Crofton has a bad reputation right now. Only way we get the Crofton back in good reputation, the good people come up there and say, no, we're doing the right thing. Then we can bring people in to help, to have good people, and maybe we're in a councilman, a good mayor coming in and listen to people. And my pet peeve is, there's a difference between unity and uniformity. Bob and the council wants uniformity. Everyone looks the same, follow the same rules, go the same suit.
We tie the same way.
We might have to have a gray truck like Bob someday. That's called uniformity. Unity comes in and say, okay, you might be different, but you might have a good idea, let's come together, let's come to agreement, let's go do it. And be transparent. And Bob's not transparent. Maybe the family members got more information, but the stuff in the paper is private information right now.
Quite a bit in here about things that really isn't necessarily public.
He may be transparent to their family members, but is not transparent to the people. Why? Because he never gave a reason why John Carter got fired. I look on YouTube. One got beaten, police brutality, all the above. No, I don't see nothing. He didn't do nothing wrong. Tell me, I gotta say, Bob, Larry, James, what did you do wrong?
I mean, it says, like, in here in the paper, it says because of confidentiality. Well, you know what? A police officer, actually, by law, there is no confidentiality with public figures like that. It says in the laws that it needs to be spelled out what they did wrong. Okay, if you're holding him accountable and saying, well, he got disbarred years ago. Well, look back on the meeting. Go to Crofton Journal. They just posted the meeting he held. See why he was disbarred and why he chose not to get his license back. He could have gotten his license back, but he didn't want to. He decided, I'd rather be an officer. So sometimes in life you have to think, okay, do I really want to spend the time and the energy on this issue over here when this one makes me happy? It's not, and as a matter of fact, that was like 12 years ago. And then, some people are like, oh, but about the lawsuit in the last city they were in. The last city they were in, they had guns pulled on them. Someone called in a false police report, sent them out to a rollover accident that wasn't there. Yeah, I'd say they can file a report on those guys. And in fact, it turns out now that the sheriff down there, John's posted this on his thing, that the sheriff down there didn't even have all the credentials he said he had. So it's kind of silly. Like, you got to look at this and say, why? And then she says, oh, for a potential lawsuit. There is no lawsuit out there. He just filed because he, Aubrey, obviously, and that's not even a public thing, finding out, but how did they know about it? But there's no lawsuit out there. So, I mean, they're not, and, some people say, oh, John's just lawsuit happy. He used to be an attorney. Of course, at that point, he filed a lot of lawsuits. So, anyway, it's just kind of silly.
And people in Crofton, I think in Proverbs says, show yourself, study, and improved. If you show yourself, study, and improved, you'll know the truth. Sometimes you have to suck your gut, suck in your pride and say, I looked at it totally wrong. I was wrong about what people at rumors are saying. I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I tell Crofton people, look at it. Don't look through rumors. Look at the information and say, I was wrong. And you might get slack and you might get persecuted, but at least you stand for truth. At least at the end of your life, at least truth will stand.
Yeah. And, I just would like to make an appeal that you guys look at one another and say, why do I not like that person? And just because they're maybe a little more headstrong than you are, or maybe, you know, we're a little more outspoken than you're used to, or, you know, whatever. But I mean, last I checked, we were all still from Crofton. We were all still neighbors, you know. We enjoy a lot of the same things, you know. Let's start finding some commonality. But we have to take care of some of these other things, because it's not right that our officers are dismissed first, explain later.
That's having, you're guilty, now you have to prove your innocence. This is a third world country system we're living in right now. This is a third world country. We do a pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. But we live in a third world country. If you're guilty, then prove your innocence.
Yeah. And, you know, the government should be we the people, by the people, for the people. They're not representing us. They're not listening to us. They're not even letting us talk to them. Like, they're just saying, just shut up and listen, and we're going to do it our way. You know? I'm surprised they don't make us, like, wear dresses and ties to the city council meeting, you know? I mean, and that's another thing. Like, some of the city council meetings, there has been nobody there, and I really appreciate that Crofton has come out in May and June in the droves. Let's fill this July meeting. You know, let's come to these meetings and start saying, what are you discussing? You know, because it affects us. So anyway, I think that is our.
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, you can nit this apart, nitpick this apart if you want, or you can just listen with your heart. And
you can hate us, you can love us. This is what it is. That you blame it on the city council is not letting us speak. We have to get our words out. Bye.